Hi, and I welcome you to this video. In this video, we are going to discuss about frequently asked questions in interviews. The question is, reverse the words in a sentence. What does it mean? Consider a sentence, life is love. This will be the input for your program, and your code should reverse this into love is life. Notice that the words in the sentence, here the requirement is the order of words in the sentence should be reversed, not the entire sentence. So we should keep this in mind when we write the logic or algorithm. As always, we do to approach any question on data structures and algorithm. Here also we should first try to understand the question. If you have any questions or any clarification in the question that has given to you, then we have to ask the appropriate question to the interviewer for clarification and then try to understand the question that has given to you. If once again, if you get any question, post your question or clarification to the interviewer and get it clarified. In this case, for this particular problem, you can ask three questions to your interviewer. The first question is you can just get a confirmation that the words in the sentence that will be given as input to your program is going to separate it by space in between the words. Remember that this can be used as a logic in your algorithm. The next question you can ask is your input sentence might have multiple lines or multiple sentences can be clubbed together to pass as input to your code. In that case, you have to handle multiple sentences as well in your code. So you have to get a clarification from interviewer whether the input is going to be a single sentence or multiple sentences. And the third question could be about input type. To solve this particular problem, we should process the sentence as character array. You should convert this sentence as character array if input is going to be of type string. You have to get a clarification from interviewer that input type is going to be a string or a character array. If it is going to be a string, then we have to write a logic in our code to convert string into a character array. So these are the clarifications that we can get from the interviewer. Post this, we have to think how we can solve this problem with least time and memory complexity. First, let's look into time complexity. Time complexity for solving this particular problem is going to be O of n because to process a sentence we have to iterate through each and every character of the sentence at any cost. So this problem can be solved with the least time complexity of O of n. Time taken for solving this problem is going to be linear. So by O notation, we can say time complexity is going to be O of. Next, we have to think about memory complexity. The memory complexity for solving this question could be O of n if we are going to use an auxiliary data structure. Auxiliary data structure is nothing but any temporary data structure that you are going to use to solve this particular question. For example, if you are going to use an array to temporarily store your data for solving this question, then you are using an auxiliary data type. We have to try to reduce this as much as possible because our job is to think how we can solve this question with least memory complexity. The best would be to try to solve a question without using any auxiliary data type. So in this case, I think we can solve this question without using any auxiliary data type. So we are not going to use any new array for solving this question. After applying algorithm, I'm not going to save the data in a new array. I'm going to save the data in the same array that has been passed as input to the code. Next, before we start writing our algorithm, we have to think about the approach we are going to take to solve this question. The requirement here is to reverse the order of our words in a sentence. So here we have to think about a logic to identify start and end index of each word in our sentence. Yes, you are right. We can use the space between the words to identify the start of new word. With this, we can precisely get the start and end index of each words in a sentence, and with that, we can reverse the words in our sentence. Next, we have to think how we can reverse the words in a sentence. In our previous point, found a way to identify the first and last index of words in a sentence. Next, we have to think about how we are going to reverse the sentence. Notice that we are not going to use a new array. We are going to save the data back into the same array that we got as input into the program. So we have to think in a direction how we solve this problem without using an additional auxiliary data type. So the best way is to approach this problem with two steps. In step one, we will reverse the entire sentence. Our sentence will look like this. If you notice here, the requirement is to reverse the words, not the letters. If we reverse the letters, the sentence does not make any sense. So the requirement here is reverse the words. But in our step 1, we have reversed entire sentence, so the letters are also reversed along with words. Now we have to undo the reversal that we have done to the words. This is where we will find the start and end index of the words, and we will reverse the words. In step 2, we are going to undo the reverse done to words. Now let's write the algorithm. If the input for our program is a string, first we have to convert the string into a char array. Next we have to do a null check and empty string check on the input that we have got. Next we have to write a helper method for reversing a set of characters in a string. This helper method will get three arguments. The first argument is a string on which we are going to work, and the second argument is the start index of the string, and the third argument is the end index of the string. The characters between the start and end index should be reversed. You will understand this better when we go for coding. Using the helper method in previous step, we have to reverse the entire string that we got as input to our program. And finally, as we discussed earlier, now the entire sentence is reversed, including the letters and words. So now we have to undo reverse we have done to the words. Of course, we can use the same helper method, but now we are going to pass through the sentence and we are going to identify the start and end of each words, and we are going to pass the start and end index of the word to our helper method we used already to reverse each of the words in the sentence. This might be confusing to you right now, but when I go for coding, you will have a better understanding on this. Well, now let's jump into the coding. Here, this is the class which I have developed for solving this problem, and this is the main method, which is the entry point for this code. This program should reverse our input string, which is love is life, and the reversed output string should be life is love. So I am instantiating my main class, and I have written this particular function to convert input string into a char array. The converted char array will be stored into a variable of type char array. Apart from this method, we also have another method which does the string reversal. This method takes in three arguments: the char array, start index, and end index. The first argument is the char array on which this reversal should be done, and start index, a starting position of the char array from where the reversal should start, and end index is the ending position of the char array where the reversal should end. I hope you remember that we decided to reverse our entire string as our first step. So this is that first step. So this is step 1. So in this step, we are going to reverse the entire string. Now let's have a look at our helper function which does the reversal of string. So in this case, I'm trying to reverse the entire string. So I'm passing the start index as 0 and end index as last element of my char array. So the entire string will be reversed irrespective of the start or end of the word. In this case, this particular method will treat the entire string as a single word. Now let's have a look at our method. This is the method which does this job of reversing the string by taking in the start and end index of the char array. First, we are checking whether the given string is null or char array of length 2 to do the reversal. So that is the reason why we are checking whether the sentence length is lesser than 2. In case if the sentence is null or if length is lesser than 2, then we are returning an empty char array because we cannot reverse here anything. Next, we are getting into an while loop until the start index is lesser than the end index. Let's see why we are doing this. In this case, start index is L and the end index is E. As we already discussed, since we want to reverse the whole sentence, the first element of the char array is the start index and the last element of the char array is end index. First, we are storing the content of start index into a temp array here, and then we are swapping the content of start index with end index here. Since we already stored content of the first element in temp, now we are storing the content of temp in the last element of the index. So this way the content between the first and last element is swapped now. Now it's time to swap the second element from left and second element from the right. So we are incrementing start index by 1. So now the start index will be this element, and also we are decrementing end index here. So end index will be this element. Then our while loop will check for condition whether the start index is lesser than the end index. Of course, start index will be lesser than end index here. So once again, the same loop continues. The start index content is stored in temp, and end index content is stored in start index, and then content of temp is stored in end index. This way we are swapping O and F. Then once again we are increasing the start index by 1 and decreasing the end index by 1. Then we will swap V and I. So this way we will be swapping the entire sentence. And finally, our content of our start index will be I, and content of our end index will be S. Finally, after swapping this, once again we will increment start index and decrement end index. So this will become our end index and this will become our start index. Now you can see that start index is not lesser than end index, because since we continue to increment even after reversing the string, there was a cross section between cross index and end index. So now end index is lesser than start index, and our while condition will fail, and ultimately we will return the reversed string. As we discussed already, now the entire sentence is reversed, which includes the words. So now we have to undo the reversals that are done only to the words. For doing this, let's initialize an integer variable. We call sentence reversal method by passing in start index as 0 and end index as last index of our char array. This have reversed our entire sentence like this. But notice that this doesn't make any sense, because even words are reversed. So we have to undo the reversals that has been done to words. So for this, first we have to find the start and end index of each words in this sentence, and then we have to call the same sentence reversal method by passing in start and end index of the words, so that the individual words will be reversed. So we are declaring an integer variable with value 0, and then we are getting into a while loop, and inside while loop we are just checking whether the start index is greater than length of the array. If start index is greater than length of the array, of course we should break, because we have passed through the entire string. And then we are incrementing the start index. This is the start index. Since we have assigned value of start as 0, content of our char array on 0th position will be E. So this will be our start index. And we are traversing through the array until we see a space in our char array. Of course, we will see a space in our char array at this position. So until that point in time, we are going to increment. So in this case, due to this if condition, we will increment our start position to F, and we will mark end index as start plus 1. Another while loop, we are checking whether the end is lesser than length of our char array. And if char array of end is not equal to space. If both these conditions are satisfied, we are incrementing the end position to reach to the space. In this if condition, we are checking whether the start index that we have initialized is a space. If it is a space, we are incrementing the start index. We have to do this because in case your pointer is here in this space, we cannot mark this as our start index or start of our word. So we have to increment in this case. To handle this particular condition, we are checking whether our start position is a space. If it is a space, we are going to increment. So in this case, content of our start position is not a space. So we are not going to increment it. At the same time, we are going to mark our end position as start position plus 1. This start position is free, but this is not the end position of our word. So we have to increment until we reach the end position of the word. And we are doing this by checking whether the content of our end position is a space. So we have to increment our end position until we reach a space in our char array. We are doing that using this while loop. So in this case, do we have a space in end position? No. So we have to increment. And here, do we have a space in our end position? No. We have to increment. Do you have a space in our end position? Yes, we have. So in this case, we should not increment. So this will be our end position for the first word. Then we are calling our sentence reversal method to reverse this particular word. Since the end position is a space, we have to decrement our end position before sending it as an argument to our string reversal method. String reversal method will take care of this, and it will reverse this whole word. Next, we have to do the same for the next word. At some point, once we reach the last index of the array, our end position will not be lesser than length of the char array. In this case, we will not increment end, and we will make this as an end position, and we will pass it to our string reversal method, and it will make end position as start position. And in next while loop, our start position is greater than length of our char array. So this while loop will break, but our char array will hold the sentence which is reversed, which is our expected solution. So in this case, the content of our char array will be life is love. Our input was love is life and our output will be life is love. I hope now you got how to solve word reversal problem with least memory complexity and time complexity. Let's meet in my next video. Thank you.